this podcast.
Hello and welcome to Anything Goes with me, Richard C.W. Mason. And on today's podcast show, we're going to be talking spirituality and all things spiritual with Rita Moody.
Welcome, Rita.
Welcome, thank you.
So, how long have you been interested in spirituality and all things spiritual?
Professionally, I would say since 2013, but as a child I became aware of, I had one or two funny experiences, sensing spirits, seeing things, but I didn't really understand at the time what was happening, so it kind of frightened me more than anything. But then as I sort of grew older and became more interested, I noticed that it wasn't frightening. It actually was quite a pleasant experience when I started to understand. So I decided to open up spiritual centres.
So you've been doing spiritual centres since 2013?
I have, yes.
So over the years, what sort of things have you had going on at your spiritual centres?
Well, I started off, I sort of did my homework by looking and finding mediums, talking to them. Obviously I started out with platforms where I was doing evenings of mediumship, and a different medium would come along each week and serve the centre. I sort of went on to doing one-to-one readings and would have an in-house reader, but I always welcomed guest readers too. Psychic suppers, they were always popular, and development circles, so a lot going on and all spirit based.
So experience wise, good experiences from mediums, what sort of things have you been told that have come like 100% true or you can really relate to? Have you had quite a lot of things like that?
I do, and I personally have had a lot of good experiences with the mediums, and obviously along the line I built quite a lot of whether you want to call them customers, recipients in the spirit world, they're known as, and obviously they shared their experiences with me as well, and there is always good in what the medium tells you, because it makes you feel that bit closer to your loved ones in spirit. Maybe sometimes that it can be that something is said and that person cannot understand it, but the medium generally asks them to take it away with them and it will slot into place somewhere along the line.
So on the other scale, have you had any bad experiences with mediums?
No, I haven't actually. I think maybe have I been fortunate? I don't know. I feel that I've had mediums and they're all unique in their own way, because they all serve in their own way, they all connect in different ways, but basically at the end of the day it's all to serve the same thing, to bring the spirit world, to the people that come along to see them, that are obviously wanting to hear from them. A lot of them, it gives them comfort, and sometimes it gives them closure. So no, I'm not going to say I've had bad experiences with mediums, because I've sort of got so many that have become not just my friends, they're my extended family as well. So I have 100% faith in them all.
Like mediumship has always, well, it's been a bit of a grey area for some people, hasn't it? Some people say it's a load of crap, some people say it's like 100% true. There's people out there trying to prove it's real, there's people out there trying to prove it's fake, aren't they?
Yeah, and I've had both sides of that from the public, because you advertise an event, put a poster up, put whatever, and you would always get the ones that will come through and kind of say, oh, well, you'd thought the medium had known that was coming, or if there was anything like a cancellation and I had to change mediums, anything, there's always those that think it is a taboo subject, but they're allowed their opinions. But when you see so many people that get so much from having a message, a reading,
it's
that it outweighs
it?
the bad in my eyes. So there's good and bad in everything, as you probably have already said, but obviously I go with the experiences that I've seen, and I felt people's emotions. I've seen them in tears, I've seen them laugh so much so there's different experiences for different people, but on the whole it is all to make that person feel good again, and reliving those special memories that them people had together. So I listen and look, and I've had them on my page where they've not been very nice, and I don't answer them because I don't want to engage in any form of slanging or whatever, because
that negativity.
Because I know the good that the mediums do. Well, I always, along the years, I've always found that, and I've heard the mediums say it no end of times, even when they stand on platform, they always tell everybody to think outside the box, that people go with a certain person in mind, and they just focus on hearing from that person, that sometimes they miss the fact that what's being said is for them, but it's not what they want to hear at the time. So sometimes, and obviously, it does all depend on the connection that the medium gets with the person that they're either giving a message to or a reading. I mean, obviously on a reading you've more time, so more and more stuff will come out on a reading, as opposed to a night where it's a mediumship or a supper where it's just a short little message for each person.
So I think people go with like a preconceived idea of what they want to come through, don't they?
And I mean, obviously, I'll be honest, I've done that before, because I've got a lot of people in spirit, whether it be family or friends. When we all like to hear from people, and sometimes somebody else comes through and you think, well, I don't want to hear from that one, not tonight. But obviously you can only go with the connection with the medium. So we've all done it, and I just think each medium works differently. Each medium is different in their own right. So
it's just it's each to their own with it, isn't it? I think some people just dismiss it as total rubbish, and then others have the belief, and then I think others are like a little bit skeptical but open-minded.
I think that there is a lot of people that when they have a message or a reading, they're always looking for that wow factor, that little piece of evidence that maybe nobody knows about but only them. And if a medium, came out with that, then that's fantastic, isn't it? But I think that, again, some people come along because they enjoy listening to other people's messages. Some people come along because they want messages of their own, and some people come because they're searching for something, or a lot of people have said to me that the evening gave them closure. It made them finally, it gave them closure, and they felt so much better. So everybody's looking for their own, whatever it is they're looking for. Do you know what I mean, when they come along to these evenings?
And I think, like you said earlier, it's like an evening out, isn't it? And a lot of the mediums I've seen do put a bit of humour into it, and a bit of to try and lift the spirits, don't they?
Because obviously the more that the vibrations, raises, and whether it be in the audience as well, if the audience are a little flat or whatever, then obviously it alters everything, and and then obviously the medium possibly will probably work a little harder to raise the vibration to with some humour, the odd joke or whatever. It's even if a person that they're bringing through from spirit was a character on the earth plane, then they'll try and bring that person through how he was to prove again. But yeah, the nights, obviously, certainly afterwards, I've always encouraged for people to stay for tea, coffee and biscuits. People stand and chat, they stand and share their experiences, but also a lot of people have made a lot of friends at these events as well, and then everybody looks for everybody, and then anybody new that came along, they would always bring that person into the fold to make them feel welcome. So I always used to encourage that, because to me that was as important as the mediumship night, making people feel welcomed and that they could stand and have a natter.
Yeah, so it's quite a social event where even if you don't get a reading, you can still have a good night just listening to other people.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people, they want a reading, and then there's that preconception where people think if they sit at the back they won't get a reading because they're out the way. It doesn't work like that. No. You know what I mean? Even if you're under the medium, you're not forced to get a message. It's just who comes through on the night. But on the whole, I try to make my evenings enjoyable. They always say that there's no perception of time in spirit, so we when we're getting a message, we thinking it's happening now, when if they give you something, but at the end of the day, they do say that there's no perception in time and spirit, so therefore that means it could happen whenever. But I know I've had readings from a very long time ago that I forgot what they'd said, and then 3-4 years down the line something happened and I'd think, oh my God, I can remember being told that now, but that was years ago. But it's true, you know what I mean? And it is, I mean, it is hard because you go for the here and now, really, when you, because obviously there's psychic, there's spiritual, you know what I mean? There's your tarot, there's various, like you brought up, you did the Reiki, there's all different ways of connecting to spirit. You can connect to spirit with anything. It doesn't have to be just that connection, like looking at somebody and trying to pick up, but there's various ways. But some people, they will do the readings and claim that it's happening within the next few days, the next few weeks, maybe in the next 6 months. A lot of people like those sort of readings because they kind of want to know a bit of an insight as to what's happening. Especially if there's something going wrong or something's not quite right, or they might just want some guidance. So
there's different ways mediums work. Is it clairaudience where they hear, clairvoyance where they see? And what's the other one? Is it? There's one where
sensing, clairsensing.
Yeah, clairsentient, whatever it's called. Where they sense
and feel.
And then is there something with trance where they go into a trance?
Trance is a bit more, a lot more specialised in the sense that
it's not something every medium
can't
does.
You won't be able to do every time. It's basically where they trance and they will bring a loved one through, and the characteristics of that person become on the medium's face, and obviously their voices changes. And I had experience of that myself, which was pretty good. but it's not something I'd like to see every week. But there are mediums out there that are very good at it, are quite special. I mean, it's not for everybody, but...
What is the most, I don't want to say common way that a medium would work? What do they use most? Do most hear something, or do they see them stood next to them? Yeah,
some they see their auras. Some read their auras as well, Sometimes, the times I've heard, like when people are coming to these events and, the medium's probably in the building. A lot of mediums like to sit out the way so that they're not listening to people's conversations. But often a medium will say to somebody, when you walked in, a gentleman came in with you. He was by your side, or a lady or a child or whatever. So they're just... the link's there, some, they open up with a little prayer and things, and then obviously straight into the...
Doing protection.
Yeah, into the mediumship, yeah.
Yeah, so there's different ways of working. I suppose it's each to their own. Would some mediums see, like, the spirit next to the actual person?
Yeah, they can do, yeah.
Behind them.
Yeah, they can see them, yeah. They can describe what they look like, who it is.
And I've heard of mediums like, say, the spirits have joined them that week during...
Yeah, some mediums actually have said that when they were travelling to the events, they've had so-and-so in the car with them, and they've had a chat with them all the way there, and obviously they want to leave them at the event now and not take them back home with them. That there's sometimes, mediums will pick up stuff in the week leading up to it, probably know somebody that's going to be there because that person in spirit's come to them and told them that their daughter or their wife or whoever, son, is going to be at this event. I remember as a child, really, I didn't know it at the time, but I think my dad was really spiritual. It sort of came to light later on, when he was quite old. And then I think, like I said, I used to sense things and feel things, but it used to really, I couldn't get my head round it all. And then one of my children, she's quite spiritual, she senses quite a lot, and so I think it is in the bloodline.
It's like somebody said to me, aren't you scared of, like, ghosts being in your house or anything? I said, well, like, what can a ghost do? They're not going to physically push you down the stairs or anything, are they? Or...
No, well, you see, this is it. There's a lot of people that are frightened, but they always say that the dead will never hurt you. No. They're only there to help you now, to guide you, to protect you. So...
As far as that goes then, have you ever had any bad experiences with spirit, or have you heard of anyone having bad experiences with spirit?
I think years ago, but
there was all poltergeist stories when I was at school, and that film, The Poltergeist, whatever it was, that sort of made things worse, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly...
And people messing about.
I had this bad experience where... To me, I was awake and sat up in bed. Whether I was or not, I don't know. But the only thing I can relate it to, it was like a little impy type thing that was bouncing from the unit to myself, back to the wall. And it was just a weird experience. It was almost like... When I did mention it to somebody, they kind of said that I'd taken a bad spirit home. And obviously it was very surreal because it was like I was awake, but I don't know if I was awake. And that's all I can say. And when I checked it out, they supposedly said it was a bad spirit. So that's my one and only bad experience. But I've seen spirit. I've seen them come in front of me. To start with, I used to think, what the heck is going on? But obviously, as time's gone on and more events have happened in my life that you start to understand more, I started to feel more spiritual, which led me into opening a centre.
And like you said, it's a community thing, isn't it? It's where people get together. It's comfort for some people.
Comfort, yeah.
The
Closure
mediums,
for some.
Yeah, closure. So, what sort of workshops and things have you run in the past that have been of a spiritual nature?
Well, there's always been development, like a development circle, which enables people to basically come along and see what connections they can get. There's been psychic workshops. We've had workshops where people try and tune in. You know, they're all
So do you think everybody can
in
do
their
that?
own way.
Can anybody start a spiritual journey, or does it have to be in you from the start?
No, a lot of people that came along had no spiritual experience, but they were just interested in it.
You just have to have the interest.
And then decided that they'd try and give it a go. Now, it has surprised a lot of people, because as they kept coming, they started to get connections, and some couldn't believe that they'd got this in them. Now, whether it is in you and you waking it up, you know, I don't know. But they do say that everybody can do this, but it's how you do it.
So, don't you ever feel like being the one at the front of the audience and giving the readings out? Or would you not?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I chair all the events, and I basically book all the mediums. Now, I've sat and I sit in development,
and you get cards and things.
And I started doing readings, but what I would do was I would, if I was doing it for a person, I would visualize that person in front of me, and I would hold their face. I would hold it and draw the cards, but ask Spirit to enable me to choose the right cards for this person. And I did it, and I did quite a few readings that way, and I also used to attach charms and things, charms that I thought were relevant to the reading. And then I started doing readings and putting them in envelopes, and basically whenever I did those kind of readings, I would always sit kind of in the power, and I would try and ask Spirit to help me choose the right cards for the person to then be drawn to the right envelope. And they were quite successful, my readings. Yeah, me personally, I do think that every now and again I would come out with what I would call a cracking piece of information, and then possibly not get anything for a while. But I do keep getting told that I can do it, and I need to do it, and I need to take myself out the comfort zone and do it. I enjoy being among the mediums, and I enjoy chairing for that mediums, whoever, how many come on the night. Whether I get to sitting on the other side of the fence, I don't know, but certainly just lately a lot more stuff has been coming to me. Spirit have come differently, and they're actually tapping me on the shoulder now and trying to tell me things. Or a new thing that's happened is I get a buzzing in the ear, And when I acknowledge it, I usually find that day someone will tell me something, I find something out, or something comes to light. So it's all changing at the minute for me, so I'm trying to go with what's happening at the moment.
So you've had a break from spirituality, well, doing it as a spiritual centre for a while. So what made you get back into it after the break? Because I think I spoke to you a couple of months ago, and you was just sort of drawn a line for a bit, hadn't you?
Yeah, just experiences in life. I decided that I still keep in contact with all the mediums on regular basis. You know, they message me, they phone me, we privately chat, and they kept saying to me, you do know it's in your blood and you're going to go back to it. Have a little breather, but you'll be back. And I just left it, and then it just hit me that I maybe need to try it, you know, start again. Just put on a few events, maybe not go as big time as I was, but just enjoy back being among the people that enjoyed my nights. And the response that I got and still getting has been quite overwhelming for me, because they've all welcomed me back, including mediums. The messages of support and guidance I've had has been unmeasurable, and that kind of maybe said, come on, let's start again. So
the signs were there.
Yeah. And actually, when you say about signs, I've asked them to show me signs whichever way they want, and they have been. And there have been signs that there's no mistaking. So basically, probably would like to just say that obviously, you know, these events are all to give people comfort, you know, to come through the door, to listen to the mediums. They've always got opportunities to ask the mediums questions. They then go on to the social side of it, where they can talk to like-minded people. You know, they can have a cuppa, they can, so many people have become good friends and meet out of the events. But I think people just need to remember that, you know, I think my final thing I'll probably say is that there's always memories all around. Whether you look at a photograph, it'll remind you of something. A piece of music will remind you of events or a place where you were, what you did at that particular time. There's always something that will remind you. So keep hold of all your thoughts, relive your thoughts through the mediums, relive the love that you had, the bond that you had with that person or people. And I think that probably is a good note to end on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today.
It's been lovely, Richard.
In this
Thank you.
Spiritual episode of Anything Goes. There'll be more episodes coming soon, so please follow us, like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
You have been listening to Anything Goes with me, Richard C.W. Mason. Please give us a follow, like and subscribe. Lots more new episodes coming very soon. Bye for now.